Hey, what's up you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, I'm Lydia, and if you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, join the growing family, turn notifications on, and while you're down there, give me a thumbs up because it really does help me out. Today we're doing a Q&A. I've got quite a lot of questions. What's the hardest part about living with schizoaffective disorder? Honestly, it's probably having hallucinations and not knowing whether they're hallucinations or real. For example, I hear voices of people that could be making them sounds. I hear staff members' voices knocking on my door saying, Lydia, Lydia, come out. And then I go to the door and check, and no one's there. It's in my head. You know, it's a hard one because there's nothing good about living with schizoaffective disorder. It's not a fun thing to have. But the hardest part is hallucinations and telling whether they are hallucinations or whether they're not hallucinations. Is schizoaffective disorder considered a severe mental illness? Yes, it is. What's one part of schizoaffective disorder that you wish everybody understood? I think for me, it's probably going to be when I'm depressed. I'm depressed. I have depression diagnosed as well. I think it goes without saying that that would be something that I struggle with. You know, nobody talks about the depression. Depression with schizoaffective disorder is deep. And once you're in that pit of depression, there's very little you can do to come out of it. I wish people knew I am trying, despite what it looks like, I am trying to be well. Does your mental illness get in the way of your day-to-day life? Yes. So my anxiety / agoraphobia really does get in my way. Like, I literally can't go out the house without lorazepam. And that's saying something because I used to go out all the time for walks when I lived in Preston. I used to go on like 22-mile walks. Probably why I was so skinny. But now I can't leave the house. I mean, I struggle to go downstairs and get my medication, and that's in the house. You know, it's not a fun thing to live with. That definitely gets in the way of my life. Though I say that, I am going ice skating on Tuesday. So that's going to be fun. I am looking forward to that. But to answer the question, yes, my mental health just does get in the way of me going out, living my life. I say that and I'm flying to the other side of the world next year. Do you personally struggle with an AD? Because you obsess over your weight so much. I know I obsess over my weight so much because it keeps fluctuating between 58 kilograms and 61 kilograms. And it's doing my head in. But yes, I have an eating disorder. I am diagnosed with EDNOS, also known as OSFED. And yeah, they're interesting moments. EDNOS is an eating disorder that I massively struggle with. Currently, I eat one meal a day. Like, yes, I get hungry. Obviously, who wouldn't get hungry? But I keep telling myself, don't eat anything else. Don't eat anything else. You want to lose weight. You want to lose weight. And I know it's obsessive. And I know it's part of my eating disorder. But I'm trying to lose weight because I want to lose weight. Not because my eating disorder is telling me to lose weight. If that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Is schizoaffective disorder misunderstood? Definitely. I think people hear the word schizo and they automatically assume that you're going to be hallucinating all the time with delusions, with tinfoil on the head, colander on your head, you know, tinfoil walls. The government's out to get me, or manic, if you have bipolar type of schizoaffective disorder. You know, oh, I'm going to do this, oh, I'm going to do this, oh, I'm going to do this, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend more money, I'm going to spend more money, I'm going to spend more money. Let's dye my hair. You know, the impulsiveness of mania is definitely misunderstood. Because people think, oh, you're choosing to spend all the money. It's not a choice when you can't control the fact that you have these urges to spend money. Because you think, oh, I'll save it back up again. It won't matter. So, I do think it is a misunderstood disorder. Self-harm urges, how do you deal with? Well, let me tell you, as someone who's 2 years free from self-harm, minus my little blip, if you wanted to know more about that blip, I'll link the video on the iCard up there. Self-harm urge, how do I deal? I had self-harm urge today and I did Zumba on my Switch. Because if you didn't know, the Switch has Zumba. It's a really good game. You know, the workout I chose to do an intense workout, and that exhausted me. It's currently 10:15 at night as well, in case you're wondering why I'm so slow at answering. I have had my meds, but I couldn't sleep, so I put makeup on and filmed a video. Because that's what I do. Another thing I do to prevent self-harm relapse is I take a colouring book everywhere with me. Like yesterday when I had my seizure and I was in the hospital, I had a colouring book, I had pens. I would also say take a notebook with you as well, just because you never know when you're going to need to write something down. I had to keep using my notes app on my phone was dying, so I had to charge my phone and pray no one came in to do any blood pressure readings, because I wanted to keep a little note for myself so I could explain to you guys what was going on. But the reason I say these things is because you can also use a notebook to write down things you want to do in the future. Another thing that I do is I do my makeup, I do my hair. You know, I spend time on myself. I also got rid of every tool I had available to me, apart from scissors. Another thing that I do to distract from self-harm is play on my Switch. You know, it helps. And the last thing that I do is watch Netflix, YouTube, Disney, Prime. Introduce yourself. Okay. Hi, I'm Lydia, I'm 27 and I live in London. I have pink and purple hair. I live in Fulham. I buy way too many clothes and I own a lot of Switch games. I think I've got 72 games now. And I struggle with schizoaffective disorder, along with anxiety, agoraphobia, depression, EDNOS, insomnia, PTSD. I'm also autistic and I have ADHD, I'm dyslexic. I have arthritis, POTS, brain tumours. Just, you know, just offended things. How do you manage to cope with no support? That's actually a really good question that I've never actually answered on YouTube or in Instagram posts or on Twitter. So I got discharged from mental health services last October. Basically, I got discharged from mental health services in October, and I haven't had a mental health crisis in 2 years. So honestly, a lot of it is just lying in bed because I'm in so much pain at the minute. I'm in pain with my arthritis, I'm in pain with the brain tumours, I'm in pain because of dislocating joints. I have chronic migraines and chronic pain syndrome. But I cope by keeping myself occupied. A lot of the time it's just watching YouTube videos, filming YouTube videos, editing YouTube videos, getting angry with my internet when I'm trying to upload YouTube videos. I do colouring in to distract myself. I've got a lot of colouring books. I keep a colouring book in each of my backpacks. I go ice skating. I do stuff I want to do. And that's what's kept me out of hospital for my mental health. Seizure put me in hospital yesterday, but oh well. If you're interested in that this seizure and you want to know a bit more about what went on, the video is linked on the iCard up there. What medications do you take? Oh boy. Settle down, get some popcorn, kids. I will stop mental health medications. I take haloperidol, lithium, clonazepam, lorazepam, vortioxetine, trazodone. Then physical health wise, I take codeine, amitriptyline, bisoprolol, folic acid, vitamin D, 20,000 IU. What else do I take? Empagliflozin, procyclidine, and I inject Mounjaro injections once a week into my stomach. Best coping skill when you're depressed. So, with schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, like the one I have, you can get depressed. And when I say you can get depressed, I mean Alana was in a depressive episode for ages. And if you don't know who Alana is, this is Alana. And this is her YouTube. Alana talks about living with schizoaffective disorder. She does book hauls, she does haul videos, she does fashion videos, she does videos on self-harm, she does videos on... I don't think she's done a video on her eating disorder. She does vlogs, and she lives in Australia. She is my best friend as well, so we talk a lot. Even though we're the other side of the world from each other, we still talk, like, pretty regularly. So my best coping skill for depression is to reach out to a friend. For me, that friend is Alana. And while we might not answer messages straight away when we send them to each other, we both have really bad sleeping habits where we wake up in the middle of the night and at 5 o'clock, 3 a.m, 1 a.m, you know, we just wake up really early, and because we're on opposite time zones, we can talk to each other when we're awake in the night. So when I'm awake at night, Alana's awake because it's the daytime there. So that works really well, having someone to talk to. I also know that I've got you guys to talk to if I need to. But that is my best advice to talking to someone when you're depressed. Reach out, you never know, they might understand. And with Alana and me, we both have schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type. So we know what it's like to be manic, we know what it's like to be depressed, we know what it's like to be anxious. We know what it's like to hallucinate, and we know what it's like to have delusions. You know, we understand each other. By the way, I'll link Alana's details in the description down below. How do you tell if something's a hallucination or reality? So I'll use the example of when I hear voices. So I don't hear command voices as such when I'm on my medication, because I'm on 15 milligrams of haloperidol, which is an antipsychotic. With the voices, I hear my name being called, like, Lydia, come here, Lydia, come outside, look at you who's in bed, Lydia. Shit, my camera's gonna die. Shit. But how I tell if it's real or not is I check. I get out of bed, I open my door, if no one's there, hallucination. That's the only way I can do it. Best piece of advice for someone struggling right now. My best piece of advice for someone struggling right now would be to try going for a walk, having a shower, freshen up. Now I struggle with personal hygiene. I can't have a shower because of my knee and my arthritis. I can't get in and out of a bath on my own without help. So I have a staff member help me in, and then I call her on the phone to get me out. So personal hygiene is a hard one, but if you can take just a bit of care of yourself, you feel so much better and refreshed. I'd say have a shower, brush your teeth, and then if that's all you can do that day, get back into bed. There's no shame in that. Can I get through 4 questions on red battery? What's the hardest thing you've learnt to live with in terms of your mental health? The hardest thing I've learnt to live with my mental health is that it is unpredictable. You know, I can't predict an episode, and I can't predict when something's going to happen. You know, it's hard. Really hard. But I can't control it. It occurs whenever it wants to, and that sucks. How to cope with binge eating. Now this is something I'm guilty of because I do only eat 1 meal a day. So when I snack hard. For example, tonight I ordered chips, a sausage, can of Coke, tub of Pringles, Tang Plastics, Maltesers, and Gillian chocolates. My advice for coping with that would be move your money into a savings account. If it's not in your bank account, you can't physically get it. I know you can transfer it out a savings account, but it's more effort to go to, and if you want to binge, you want to do it now. If you have to think about it, you decide not to. Last question. Which mental health issue is the hardest to live with from your experience? Agoraphobia. It has ruined my life. Literally. I used to be able to go out and go for walks as long as I wanted. Now I get anxious going to get a package from the front door. You know, it's crippling. It's like crippling anxiety. And you're genuinely fearful at the outside. And I don't know why I'm so afraid of going out. I think it did have something to do with me being in hospital for a year, but I'd say agoraphobia is the hardest condition to live with. I would choose schizoaffective disorder over agoraphobia.